Welcome into another edition of the Train with the Best podcast. I'm Craig Hoffman with Chris Gorres here at Onyx in Richmond, Virginia, after a full day of filming.
Yes, sir.
Chris.
What up, what up?
And we have a special guest with us today. He's one of my best friends. He helped us today immensely playing cameraman. He is also the number one fan of this podcast, but he's not on the fan. He didn't win some number one fan contest.
I feel like I did though.
No, you're a hell of a trainer, and that's what I want to have you on. The guy who really started my training career in a lot of ways. You know, Courtney, who we've talked about on this pod, hired me, but as much as anyone, Branden Allen taught me how to train, and so it is my pleasure to welcome Branden to the podcast.
I appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
So we want to talk about a couple of things.
Hey, you got to talk into the mic, man. You
Oh, my bad. Is this better?
There you go.
It's better.
I'm just kidding.
So I want to talk to you about a couple of different things. One of the things is what we talked about on the car ride down here, which is like this search for life hacks that everyone is on that needs to be kiboshed immediately. But when everyone sees you train, the number one thing that everyone's always going to think of is energy.
Right.
Like, where the hell does that come from? Because it's like a superpower, or you're an alien or something.
It's the funniest thing. I honestly, because I don't get a lot of sleep, which is the craziest thing. I don't know. Just being in the gym just kind of really rejuvenates me. I have no clue why. Because I work a full-time job. So literally I wake up 6 o'clock every morning. I'm training. I'm working at my job from 7 to 3. And then I'm at the gym from 4 to about 8 or 9 at night. And I wake up. I could be dog tired on the way to the gym, but as soon as I get there, it's just like a revitalization that I have.
Yeah. We know Branden's there because we hear him.
Literally, because I know
get it. Yep.
as soon as I get there, I'm like, I know I'm about to be improving lives. I know my clients are going to hate me, but they're going to love me at the same time.
Right.
And I'm just helping people live better lives on a day-to-day basis. And I feel like that enough just gives me the energy that I need to just push it through those 4 or 5 hours worth of training.
Yep.
The other thing too is probably you talk about changing lives, what that is, not only because of the ones you've trained as a trainer, but tell people about your transformation, which you recently put pictures of on Instagram too.
Oh man, I wasn't even what
that wasn't even the full one.
Yeah,
you do 2012 to now.
Yeah, it was 2012. I was probably 120 pounds soaking wet.
I don't know if Chris knows this.
Literally.
No, I don't.
Have you seen these pictures?
I will look at these pictures.
Okay, because all of our phones are being used as cameras right now. But we'll have to pull them up.
I was 120 pounds soaking wet. Yeah, about, what was it? 2012.
Yeah.
And
where are you at now?
175.
Ooh.
Yeah. And long story short, I was in a relationship, broke up with her. She was super into fitness. So I was like, hey, maybe if I get into fitness, I'll get her back. Exactly.
Oh.
So the more and more that relationship fell apart, the more and more I just fell in love with fitness. So God bless her, because that breakup really kind of got me to the point where I am right now. And I don't know wherever she is listening to this or not listening to this, but
you're gonna send her this back. Look at me now. I'm on the Train with the Best podcast.
But I'm grateful. I'm grateful immensely, because it really changed my life. And because I was working at the front desk at my gym, and then after that whole relationship just totally died off, and then I literally just fell in love with the gym and the gains and all of that.
The gains. This is a man who has fallen in love with the gains. He is in a relationship now with the gains,
and I'm happily married to the gains. But it's definitely been a journey, and as I said in my Instagram post, it's been frustrating quite a bit, but just always wanting to be the best version of myself. And at that time, I wasn't the best version of myself. And even now, I always strive for better. But just appreciating where I came from, and just keeping my eyes on the goal is definitely
when in that
important.
journey. I don't know if I've ever asked you this before. When in that journey did you decide I want to do this for a living? Not for a living, but professionally.
That's a good question. Maybe when I just started seeing my confidence even in myself change, and just because it's a total transformation. It's really really crazy because not only was I changing my body, but my mind was changing too.
Yep.
Just the way that I woke up every morning was changing. Having to sacrifice going out for going to the gym and things like that, having to wake up early the next morning, and just because I was, like I said, I was working the front desk at the gym, and then just seeing myself change, and then kind of seeing other people within the gym change as well. Kind of really, I was like, oh, I could probably do this. This is something. And even so, Courtney, she was like, oh, you have the personality for this. Have you ever thought about it? And once I started making those changes within myself, I was like, maybe I can help other people do the same thing.
Right.
So that's a little background on Branden. We'll take a quick break, hear from our friends at Super Coffee. Your friends at Super Coffee.
Oh, God, I love those guys. Jimmy, what's up?
Branden, the only thing he loves more than Super Coffee are the gains. When we come back, we will talk about this. We're working title of this segment is Bleep Celery Juice. That's next on the Train with the Best podcast. The Train with the Best podcast is powered by Key2 Life Incorporated, makers of Super Coffee and Super Creamer, which, Chris, I put in a smoothie yesterday. I was like, man, this is good. Branden, I made a double smoothie today for us on the car ride down, and Branden was quite a fan. The vanilla super creamer went into this particular smoothie. There are so many different uses for the products, not just coffee, your traditional use in the morning.
Wow, that might be the new ish, man. Put that stuff into the smoothies. Yeah, I mean, I'm still putting it into the coffee, and I couldn't be happier. I'm putting the hazelnut in my coffee in the mornings, and that sets me up for the day. I get my protein, I get my MCTs, I get everything that I need, and I'm off and running.
I think I'm about to order some more and go back to the super coffee, the regular bottled RTD OG. And then, of course, I got to get us a box sent to Indy at the end of the month. We have to show up in Indianapolis with the proper amount of super coffee. Those are long days. Those are 2 super coffee days, and we are excited to have them. And anyone can get this all, whether it's super coffee, super creamer, for 25% off. Just use the code TRAINWITHTHEBEST at drinksupercoffee.com, and you can get that shipped directly to your door. It's all brought to you by the fine folks of Key2 Life Incorporated. If you can change your energy, you can change the world. That is the Key2 Life. Our main topic today, again, the working title, Bleep Celery Juice. Not that I have anything against celery juice. I'm sure it's great. It has benefits. There's a lot of research happening on it right now. But it's the latest thing that people are trying to use to shortcut a process that takes a long-ass time. And Chris, people come to us all the time, come to Branden all the time. Mm-hmm. Hey, I want to lose weight. I want to do this. And it's always seemingly with how quickly they can do it as opposed to how effective they can do it. And that's what drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, people will go through and it's not, right now it's celery juice. Before that, it was acai. Before that, it was whatever, somebody's homemade version of kombucha, whatever they were calling it, right? So, like, there's always going to be this flavor of the month, that shortcut of the month that everybody's trying, and they're saying, oh, this is the lemonade cayenne pepper diet that Beyonce is doing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to look like Beyonce. No, you're not.
No.
But it's funny because you listen to these people, and they're like, yo, I'll do whatever it takes. Tell me what to do. You don't understand, Chris. I want to train with you. I want to work out, and I'll do whatever it takes. Okay. Get to bed, drink water, and show up to work out 3 times a week. Oh, no. Can I just drink this celery juice? Like,
yeah, but I also heard about celery juice. Like, will celery juice help? Can I have? What happens if I drink celery juice and then apple cider vinegar? Or should I do it the other way around?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Actually, you should dump it all down the drain.
Right. They want
and
this,
show up to the gym.
They want this magic bullet, and it's just not out there. Like, what's funny is that you give them the simple steps, the things that you have to do, and it's too boring. Like, they don't want to do that. But that's what success is doing those boring things, doing those simple things, and doing them over and over again to the point that it becomes a habit, to the point that it becomes a lifestyle, right? Like, one of my favorite books that I just started re-listening to again was The Power of Habit, just being able to create that habit of excellence, doing the simple things over and over again, right? To the point that your basal neural ganglia takes over and you're doing it without even having to think about it, you know?
Absolutely.
Show off.
Yeah, one thing I tell my clients. One thing I tell my clients often is hard work, consistency, dedication. But even aside from all 3 of those things, time. There's no quick process. People ask me all the time, oh, how can I get abs? How can I do that? How can I do this? Well, all things, you're going to have to give it time. You're not going to have abs in 7 days. Like, no matter what that online program says, you can't get abs.
That's not true, Branden. You can use paint.
Then there's that.
If you want painted abs, yes, you can get that in 7 days.
Spray tans.
Right.
Yep.
And Photoshop.
Yeah. But if you want that real results, I mean, for me, like, to get my abs to where they are now, it's taken 3 consistent years.
Right.
And like my core was pretty strong before that, but to get the aesthetics that I wanted, it's taken 3 years. You know, for you look at that picture from 2012 and, you know, we joke all the time that your abs look like they're photoshopped in real life. Like it took a long time for you to get there. It took time, you know, to get, you know, we joke all the time for you, Chris, about like some of the power and, you know, Kaiser squatting 2,000 watts at 200 pounds. Like that's stuff that you built up over time.
No, I just woke up. It was just, I woke up like that.
Over time.
I was kidding.
The fact that you can still do it is kind of sick.
Right.
There's some genetics at play.
To be honest, he moves pretty well.
I know.
As a sidebar,
it's
I was shocked when he started doing those single leg hops. I was like, oh shit, like he can really move.
You remember the Vertimax certification when we were down here? I was so excited for that because I know that he moves really well, and I know when he starts to demo stuff, like it's like an on switch because he just has that relaxed, like easygoing posture, and then you start to move,
like, oh shit, wow.
And I'm like, wait for it. Everyone's faces are like, what? Yeah. So yeah, I knew that was coming. When you turned today, you flipped the switch for real today on those tuck jumps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. I had
Single
to. We had to go there.
We went
there.
there.
To go there.
Anyway, but that's something you built up over time.
That's true. I mean, and again, it's like you said, just doing those simple things over and over again. And you have to. This is what's the hard part about doing simple things is that they're so simple that they can get boring, right? Like going to bed on time and drinking water. That's not something that everybody's gonna post on their Facebook or their Instagram, like, look at the secret that I discovered. But it is that simple, and you do it over and over again, and it's like, okay, I'm good at this. It's simple enough. Maybe there's something else that I need to be doing, but it's really not, right? So like, you know, when we're talking about whether it's building good habits throughout the day or building good movement, like good, simple, functional movement has to be built in to the point that it's habitual for my athletes, right? Because they're not going to be on the field thinking about push through the toes, push through the heels, maintain neutral spine. No, it has to be habitual. They have to not think about it and do those things. So, you know, when we're talking about whether it be weight loss or high performance, it's just being able to do those simple things and finding a way to make it a challenge for yourself when it does get boring. Like for me, like I'll make sure that I do it. Okay, can I do these simple things for 21 days straight? It's not anything crazy, but can I do it for 21 days straight? Right? One of the things that I was really impressed with down in Tampa when we were there for our soccer camp was, you know, Gooch, with all his experience, he talks about, I'm not a coach. I don't coach. This is not me. I'm not certified, this and that. But then you see him jump in and he talks to the younger players. He says, look, your ability to perform on the soccer pitch has nothing to do with if you can do 1,000 juggles or 50 step overs in a row. It's your ability to make a 10-yard pass 8 out of 10 times on the perfect path with the perfect weight.
Right.
Can you make a 10-yard pass? That's soccer, right? And in a lot of ways, that's life. Can you do the simple thing over and over again to the point that it's habitual and you don't have to think about it? You know? So that's really it. There's no magic bullet. It's not celery juice. It's not acai. It's not kombucha. Right. It's not that 3-bean vegan, gluten-free, cruelty-free, cage-free recipe that you found. That's not it.
But those things, and like this is not shots at those things necessarily. Like those can be part of your healthy habits. Those can be part of your daily routine. You can wake up and have celery juice in the morning, and it makes you feel like you're on the right track for the day. And those are powerful things.
But what I'm saying is, if you're still ordering the number one from McDonald's and then you're just washing it down with celery juice, that's not going to work
at all.
And so again, it's just, and that's actually, you know, something you said about, oh, I'm going to do these things for 21 days. Actually, kind of, I guess, led me to where I want to go next with this, which is like, what are the things that you tell your clients to try to make these goals more manageable? So like what popped in my head was Whole30, which
right.
people love, and then they cycle off of it. And then
it's hard to live your life on Whole30.
Right. And take away it's not necessarily the whole part, it's the 30 part that I think is good. Like the whole part is what makes it hard. The 30 part is like, okay, I can do this for 30 days. And like, so how do you go about approaching your clients and giving them what feels like attainable goals that become sustainable lifestyles over time?
So for me, it's really easy. And I just went through this with our good friend Heather O'Reilly, who wanted to do Whole30. And she was like, hey, I think I want to try this Whole30 thing. We're just sitting at dinner. And she's like, what do you know about this Whole30? You think I should do it? So I started asking her questions and found out like, Hayo doesn't cook. She likes going out. And she's kind of like, and I'm okay saying this because me and Hayo are good friends. Like she's she's a bit moody. She can be a bit moody. So like I was like, listen, before you do this, right? Make sure you look up some of these recipes because you're going to have to count on cooking. So if you're not up for cooking some of these things, you probably want to rethink this. And the second thing is you want to talk to Dave. Dave is her husband, right? Talk to him because if you do this Whole30 thing, you're going to get super moody around day 11, day 12, right? Because you're not going to have sugar, you're not going to have carbs, you're not going to have any of this stuff, and you're going to want to cook. So, and by the way, Heyo is a crazy workout person. Like, I have to literally pull her off of the field and say, Heyo, that's enough. And she'll be like, oh, no, 2 more. So I was telling her, I was like, look, this is what I suggest to everybody. Get people around you who are going to support you and push you through it. Because it's not going to be, in something like a Whole30, it's not going to be the first 10 days. It's not going to be the last 10 days. The first 10 days, you're going to have energy. You're committed to it. You're excited about what the results could be. The first 10 days, you're going to be fine. You're going to be good. Day 11 through 20, that's when you're going to second guess everything. That's when you're going to be like, oh, crap. I don't know if I can do this anymore, man. I'm getting super moody. But then after that, at day 21, you're starting to see the changes. You're starting to see the results. It's a lot like getting a tattoo, right? Like you sit down in the chair. You're excited about getting this tattoo. They start off with that too, and you're like, oh, man, this is going to look dope. I'm going to show my friends this and that. And then towards the middle, like hour 2, hour 3, you're like, man, this is so painful. I don't know if I can do this. We should just stop. I don't know why I did this in the first place. And then as you start wrapping that up, you're back to, oh, man, this is dope. Look at this. This looks awesome. That's what Whole30 is like. That's what committing to this change is going to be like. You're going to be great in those first few days. Don't get cocky about it because you haven't hit that hard part yet. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with some people who are going to support you through that middle phase because that middle phase is everything. Just like hour 2 in that tattoo.
Yeah.
But that's if you support them through Whole30. If you tell them, hey, no Whole30, like what are some of the things like you've had clients that have lost 100 pounds and wound up in magazines. What are the things that you tell your, like you start working with someone new who's like, I want to lose weight. What are you telling them about their habits so that they're sustainable over time?
So for me, it's setting realistic goals, right? So if someone came to me and said, I want to lose 50 pounds in 3 weeks or a month. All right, realistically, that's not going to happen. We can change your eating habits. We can work out more per week. You can drink more water, things like that. But just setting realistic goals as opposed to the goals what they want. Well, for her specifically, what did we do? It was all right. It was first and foremost because she has 5 kids. So her backstory was that she wanted to become healthier for her 5 kids. Her uncle, maybe the first 4 months of us training, he died from diabetes. So diabetes runs rampant in their family. So that's when she really got serious. She was like, I have to be around for my kids because I mean, there's no one else. Like her boyfriend, husband, he's out of the question. So for her, that's when it like real life set in. Like this is really, you're not just coming here just to move. You're not coming here just because you want to lose weight. She came because she needed her whole life to change. And for her, it was literally a matter of life and death. So with her, I always told her, I was like, why are you here? Oh, that 5th and 6th rep is hard. Why are you here? What are you pushing for? So while training, that was one thing that I made sure that she always knew. And then even while I'm at home on a Friday night and I'm not doing anything, 6, 7 o'clock, I'm sending her a text like, hey, how everything go today? How was your eating today? And just kind of keeping that in her mind all the time, why she was here, why she was working hard, and always keeping her motivated. For her, that really pushed her to the next level of training and really of life. Like her consonants changed, like everything about her changed. And like you said, she lost 100 pounds. She was featured in the Washington magazine, Washingtonian twice. So just
twice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
right.
just yeah. So setting realistic goals for her and then just kind of keeping her motivated and just again, it was for her, it was an extreme situation, but it was really life and death for her.
I want to get back to the habits thing in a second, but you also just said something that I meant to talk about in the intro too.
What's that?
You are the best in terms of supporting your friends and your people. Like, why does that matter so much to you that, I get texts from Branden 4 or 5 mornings a week. It's like, bro, what's up, brose? Like, how we doing today? Like, let's go out and dominate the day. Like,
I don't
it's
know.
not because it's one thing to like have that motivation for yourself, but to like then be like, I got to send this to other people
Because I have it for myself, like just like you said, like, well, because I've been there, like just waking up and just kind of not feeling it. You know what I mean? Just waking up and not feeling great. And I don't know, seeing something on the news, not the news, but seeing something on TV or something.
Nobody watches the news anymore.
Seeing something that kind of pepped me up and just made me feel better. I mean, imagine getting that from someone that you're close to and knowing that it's genuine. Regardless if you're having a bad day or not, your day is going to be even better. So I wake up feeling great about myself every single day and just really feeling that I'm going to tackle the world. And I just want the people around me to feel the exact same way.
And you do, which is nice. All right, back to the habits thing. My ADD brain. Another thing, and we've talked about this before, as something that Exos talks about in their strategies of, creating simple, small changes that require no extra effort. Like, to me, that's the number one thing I try to tackle when I get a new client who's trying to make changes and trying to establish a new routine is, all right, what's the little things that we can change? Because if you tell them you got to change how you eat, you got to change how you work out, you got to change, how you prepare and think about every single week, you have to meal prep, you do all this stuff, they're never going to succeed.
That's
sure.
like,
It's got to be one at a time.
It's way too much at once.
Got to be one at a time.
So in many ways, you then take it back to the same philosophy we use out here in the gym. The main thing has to be the main thing. If their eating habits are terrible, then focus on making one change in their eating habits and then peel away. Once they've established that, they feel comfortable with it. Hey, what about if we cut back on the coffee and substitute more water because their coffee has 8 gallons of milk and 14 gallons of sugar in it or whatever. Coffee in itself, fine, but most people don't drink it like that. And obviously, when you think about consuming one thing, you're subbing out another. They're probably not getting enough actual water if they're drinking that much coffee. If it's consistency in the gym, maybe that's the thing. Hey, don't worry, you can eat whatever you want as long as you show up 4 times a week. And if their diet's okay. Yeah, like that's going to work. So make the main thing, just like we do on the fitness floor, but in terms of lifestyle habit as well.
Yeah, make the main thing. And like you said, like change one thing at a time, right? Like do this first. And then once that becomes a habit, then change the next one, then change the next one. And so I break it down into what's the simplest things, what's the easiest things that people can do. I break that down into muscle contractions. Right? Let's just get geeky about it because I feel like being geeky today.
I like it.
So where do people get hurt? People get hurt in eccentric and isometric, right?
Yeah.
So if that's where we know people fail, let's not start them off there. Right? Let's not start somebody's weight loss plan with don't do this and don't do that because that's eccentric, right? Trying to resist something. That takes a lot more strength. Right? Versus like going out and doing something positive. That's concentric. So for me, it's all right, let's start working out. Let's start doing things. It's the same way that you handle somebody who's depressed. Get them out doing something. Versus you can't tell somebody who's depressed, oh, well, don't think about this. Because that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to think about that, right?
100% true.
So start building concentric habits. Find things that they can do that are going to be positive, things that get them active. And then start breaking it down into isometric. Okay, wherever it is, let's not make it worse. Okay, if you're drinking 3 coffees a day, let's keep it at 3 for right now. Don't drink 4.
Yeah.
Right? Keep it where it is. Isometric, right? And then we start pulling back the eccentric. Okay, now let's take a look at your habits throughout the day. Now we can start to say, okay, this is what you're doing. Let's resist that. Let's resist this craving. Let's resist that urge, right? So start with concentric, then go back to isometric and then eccentric because that's where we know people fail.
Yeah, for sure. We've now changed this podcast episode from Bleep Celery Juice to Building Concentric Habits, which is a much better title. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, that was good. That's a great way to put it. It just kind of on the nerdy side of it. I really like
I mean, look. I mean, from everything, right? Like even from a philanthropic standpoint, right? Like trying to be a positive influence in your community, like. You're going to live a much happier life when you go out and you do things for other people. Like you were saying, it's a blessing for you to be a blessing. Right. Right? So to go out there and make somebody else feel good, it makes you feel good. Doing something positive makes you feel good. what's hard in your life is when you're by yourself and nobody's looking and nobody's watching. Yeah. Are you going to resist that bad habit? Yeah. Are you going to be able to stay away from that when nobody's looking? Right. And that's hard. That's hard to do, especially if that's what you're going to start with. You know what I mean? So start with going out and doing something positive, and then start resisting negative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go eat more broccoli.
Or celery.
Or celery juice. Go have celery juice. We've come full circle.
Full circle.
Here on the train with the best podcast. If people want more of your positivity on Instagram, they can go to
_B_Allen.
Of course, if you want us, at Trainer Gorres, at Craig_Hoffman. And make sure that you click the link in my or Chris's bio for the YouTube page, because it is live. We filmed a ton more content today that will be up, including video of this podcast. If you're listening to it and you're like, what does that Branden Allen guy look like? You won't get to see his photoshopped abs, although I probably just gave him an idea. But you will get to see his face if you go to the YouTube channel. On Twitter as well, at Craig Hoffman, at Trainer Gorres. We always appreciate you listening. Make sure you subscribe to the pod as well if you have not done that. And we will see you next time right here on the Trainer's Best Podcast. And then we hit off on 78 cameras.
On 78 cameras, seriously.